Notice a difference? Well, yeah, same thoughts. There's actually pretty much no difference, and we need to talk about it. It's been almost 2 years since the Radiant Red was released into the market, while Cream Yellows was announced back in November around last year. In the span of 2 to 3 months, Cream Yellows was positioned to be the latest and greatest to offer. It's sound test after sound test all over the Philippine community with the Cream Yellows. I was curious as to how or why the Cream Yellow got the hype during its initial announcement. Now what you have here is the Radiant Red. It features a polycarbonate top, a nylon PA66 bottom, and a palm stem measured at 13.5mm. But hold on, let's read through the specifications of the Cream Yellow. It features the same polycarbonate top, the same nylon PA66 bottom, and it also has a palm stem which is measured at 13.5mm. Well, what gives? Specs wise, everything is pretty much the same except for the spring weight. Both switches do have an 18mm spring, but Cream Yellow has an actuation force of 50 grams and it bottoms out at 58 grams, while Radiant Red has an actuation force of 53 grams and it bottoms out at 62 grams. The question now is, why the hype? We can perhaps pinpoint that to the naming scheme, Cream Yellow. Given the amplitude of sound tests there is available right now, the infamous buzzwords like creamy and Thocky are now associated with the Cream Yellows. Radiant Red was somehow considered to be a clacky switch when it can Thock as well. Here's an RK61 with a PBT cherry set and a custom polycarbonate plate that is fully modded, like any budget board that most people would do. A touch of case foam, PE foam mod, torn plate foam, and tape mod will do the trick. So let's proceed with the sound test. So where does this leave us? It goes to the idea that within this hobby, there's always a room for experimentation and learning more of the nuances with the switch housing materials. In this case, it's pretty much straightforward as to why the Cream Yellows and the Radiant Red sounded similar. Now, I'm not in the position of hating the Cream Yellows. They're great for budget switches that feature a long stem and is quite smooth at stock despite the spring ping. A touch of lube will remedy that situation. In fact, it sounds great as well with the sound test I showcased earlier. In consideration of it though, some may prefer lighter spring weights, which I think it's an underrated insight for the Cream Yellows. When I got to test them out in terms of the feel, they are both on par in terms of the smoothness. It just so happened to be that I prefer a heavier spring weight, more to which I enjoyed using Radiant Reds by a lot compared to Cream Yellows. To break down my conclusion, well first, if you have two switches that have almost a similar specifications and they are coming from the same brand or manufacturer, well, don't expect a huge difference about a thing or two. Second, we have local vendors like PMXGG, Hubquad, or G Cables to name a few, that offer tons of configurations for everyone to try out with their board. If we are in the position of improving the sound profile, we might as well check them out. And third, learn more extensively with the housing materials. Although Franken switches are quite expensive in its very idea, it is always a good read to learn with different combinations there is within the hobby. And in the same way, it allows us to learn more with the different materials that are available for switches. In doing so, we learn more before we decide to purchase anything that may or may not amplify the sound and feel of our keyboards. In fairness to Akko, They have been very transparent when it comes to their specifications of their products. I had to check in with their spec sheet just to confirm everything. It's also a good read if you want to check them out, so link is in the description below. Alright, that's pretty much for today's video, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace out.